गुड मॉर्निंग दोस्तों, मैं हूं आपका दोस्त मदन सिंह एंड आज एक और टॉपिक के ऊपर आपके साथ बात करता हूं। जेंटलमैन, दुनिया में आग लगी हुई है, दैट इज द फैक्ट ऑफ द मैटर, एंड आई एम गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट इंडिया एंड पाकिस्तान। अभी आपने लेटेस्ट न्यूज तो सुनी होगी कि जनरल मुनीर जो है ऑन अ विजिट टू पाकिस्तान यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स, उन्होंने बहुत घटिया बात की है। इन द सेंस ही हैड मेड अ स्टेटमेंट that he will use nuclear bombs in the next conflict with India. And mind you, he has also said that I'll take half the world with me if Pakistan is going to face an existentialist crisis. That's number one. Then he gave a very interesting example of India and Pakistan, and he said, well, look, I'm like a person who's a dumper, and suppose the Indians are coming in a Mercedes and both of them have a crash, you know what is going to be the result. So these are very dangerous thoughts which General Munir has got. And the sad part is that they were spoken from American soil. And I can tell you that they were with the concurrence of Donald Trump. Because in a press conference later, Donald Trump was asked about these comments made by General Munir, and his reply was absolutely innocuous. He said to the correspondent, you must have asked this question to the Pakistan government, because I am aware about these comments, but then I have nothing to say. Now he's made those comments on American soil, and that is where the shoe pinches. And Trump knew about these, and he says you consult the government of Pakistan. So why has Trump turned against India? See, there are so many questions involved. Trump has turned against India and turned against Modi in particular. In Air Force, we have a section which is called as Section 65 of the Air Force Act. This is self-inflicted injury and punishable, I think, with 2 or 4 years of imprisonment. I don't remember exactly. But it's a section in the Air Force Act. I think Modi has followed Section 65 and committed a self-inflicted injury. You see this entire picture, Munir making those comments, Donald Trump putting tariffs of 50% on India, all these have got some background. I mean, it is not something which came out of the blue. And India's relations with America have never been as bad as it is now after 1971, when of course we know रिचर्ड निक्सन ने बहुत अनशन बातें बोली थी इंदिरा गांधी के अगेंस्ट, जो मैं वर्ड्स उन्होंने यूज किए मैं बोलना नहीं सकता। सो जेंटलमैन, ये एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट है इस वक्त कि ये कैसे सेकंड टर्म में डोनाल्ड ट्रंप जो है वो बिल्कुल ही हैज टर्न्ड, अंग्रेजी में कहते हैं ना टर्न टर्टल, ही हैज टर्न टर्टल, एंड इन अदर वर्ड्स ही हैज टर्न्ड ए रेनिगेड एज फार एज इंडिया इज कंसर्न्ड. And who is to be blamed? Do we blame Trump? Do we blame Munir? Or we blame the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi? देखिए, Munir is an enemy of India. At least he claims to be a self-professed enemy of India. He wants to act against India and destroy India. And he, from his point of view, he has a legitimate right to say so, feel that way. And if he's made a statement in America against India for the nuclear war, it is for the American government to take action. But they don't want to take action, and India has made a mild protest which has got no meaning. See, देखिए, एक historical perspective मैं आपको दूंगा पहले. Basically, this is a character of the Hindus which I am bringing out. 9th century onwards, I think 10th century onwards also, उससे पहले भी मोहम्मद बिन कासिम came, और फिर invaders आए like Muhammad Ghori and Ghazni, and they continued. Then Babur came. They all came from the northwest frontier, and they came and they defeated the local inhabitants who were the Hindus. Babur, of course, defeated a Muslim dynasty which was known as the Delhi Sultanate, which was as it is entrenched firmly there. So leaving Babur out, who defeated the Muslim rulers of India, the others all defeated Hindus. And then a stage came when the Hindus, which constituted 95% of the population, became slaves in their own land. And there was no backlash, no backlash. In any country, if you remember the history of the world, the Ottoman Empire once ruled Turkey. From Turkey, they ruled Greece. Greece was one of their very prized colonies. But Greece had a revolt against the Turkish Empire and they won. And the Turks then withdrew from Greece. The Ottoman Empire collapsed. That was in, I think, 1850, around that period. So, gentlemen, what I am coming to is that there has been no internal strength of the Hindus to oppose anybody who comes abroad. Similarly, the Angrez आए and they were ruling India like they were lords, and there were no more than 100,000 Britishers in India at any time, and they were ruling a population of 250 million, which was the population at that time. So I think this should ring a bell in your mind that there is some psychological problem with the Hindu religion, or maybe whatever the Hindu people. I don't know what exactly it is, but it's there. Some problem is there. After 47, we decided to follow a pacifist policy. That means we don't want to trouble anybody. We don't want any domination of the world. We just want to live ourselves. You can't live like that in this world. And then we had the sad spectacle of China taking away thousands and thousands of square miles of Indian territory, and India could not react. There was a small border war, and India was defeated. And then the British created Pakistan out of India. It is like, God came and created Eve out of the rib of Adam. She was a creation from Adam. Similarly, Pakistan, the creation from India by the British. But the British sowed the seeds of hatred. One thing is very clear, that in the 1,000 years of Muslim rule, by and large, the Hindus accepted the Muslim rule and it was a peaceful effort. But the British sowed the seeds of hatred and they went away. And that hatred was fanned by the Pakistan leadership, which began to talk of Islamization, purity of Islam, and they butchered the non-Muslims, basically the Hindus and the Christians, and that was the end of a multi-racial Pakistan, a multi-religious Pakistan. So that situation has continued, and it has continued because the Indians never reacted strongly to Pakistan. They never built up a military that could crush Pakistan. And then came the 65 war, which was fought for 3 weeks, and it was a stalemate. A golden opportunity was there at that time in 1965 when General Chaudhry had the run up to Lahore. The Pakistanis were not expecting an attack that day. And when Chaudhry opened the front, I think it was a cakewalk to go and take Lahore, which was 20 miles away. And yet, I do not know why, and nobody has been able to explain that the Indian army was dithering. I mean, it was part of the concept of the generals who were confused themselves. उन्होंने कहा अरे भाई ये क्या हो गया, ये तो रास्ता क्लियर हो गया, हम लाहौर कैसे कैप्चर कर लेंगे. So they didn't want to capture Lahore. So they just kept on wasting time, and ultimately the Pakistanis were able to bring their forces in, and the battle was in earnest. So, gentlemen, this is another example of a victory having been thrown away. Then came the 71 war, and here again Madam Gandhi developed cold feet. After Bangladesh had been liberated, the entire Indian forces had been moved to the Western Front to solve the Kashmir problem and to teach Pakistan a lesson once for all. But Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, with his diplomacy, fooled Indira Gandhi, and he reportedly made a statement that I have made a fool of that bloody, I won't use that word. So this is the way the Pakistanis were thinking, and the Indian thinking was totally different. They gave away 93,000 prisoners of war to Pakistan, and whatever little territory they have taken in West Pakistan, they gave it back. But that was just the beginning, because Pakistan was out for revenge. They tried it with the Khalistan movement, which collapsed ultimately after 4 years. I am from 89 to 93. I used to go to Punjab very often at that time, and I used to find that in Amritsar it was a very terrible situation. But the Khalistanis lost thanks to the Sikhs themselves, and of course the Indian Army and one police officer who was the DG Punjab Police, that is KPS Gill. They broke the back of the Khalistan movement. But again, the Indians did not learn anything. Narasimha Rao came, he went away, he allowed Kashmir to deteriorate or go out of his hands. They couldn't enforce even martial law, they couldn't do anything, the Hindu regime in Delhi. And then came the famous Sardar, he gave away so much of territory more to China for peace, and he admitted with Musharraf in a talk that Kashmir and Baluchistan are equated. Such a stupid man, how could do it? Ridiculous, I will use the word. But ये सब उसने किया है, Manmohan Singh ne, and yet we say he was a very great Prime Minister. Then came Narendra Modi, and here also I'm afraid he was handicapped. Handicapped in the sense he has been in the RSS for years, and he had been a Chief Minister of Gujarat. But a Chief Minister of Gujarat is quite different from a Prime Minister of India. I don't think he really became properly as Prime Minister of India, because all the time he was talking of peace at number times and doing double speak, and that is the actual fact. Doing double speak all the time. And he thought he is going to become a Vishwaguru. This was the same thing which Nehru did, the mistake which Nehru committed. He thought he is a very great third world leader, and he forgot that you got to strengthen your army, you got to have a geopolitical vision of world domination. He didn't have it, and he got lost. He got defeated ultimately, I think, after the last 1 or 2 years of his life when he was defeated by China. He couldn't show his face anywhere, never even went abroad. He felt so ashamed. And in one of his articles, he has written, I do not know why Pakistan and China didn't accept my hand of friendship. He must remember that hand of friendship is not accepted by everyone. Do you think Pakistan is going to accept your hand of friendship? And India signed a water treaty with Pakistan. We know that in this water treaty, in which they gave away 80% of the water to Pakistan. This is what Pandit Nehru did. And now Modi says he's going to stop the water. I have said repeatedly it's not going to be easy. Because if you're going to stop the water and build a dam on the Satluj or something to stop the dam water flowing to Pakistan, the world is not going to support you, and Pakistan is going to face an existentialist crisis that they will fight. And this is what he precisely, Munir said. He said, if you're going to make a dam over the rivers and stop water, we will use missiles to obliterate, destroy the dam. So the question arises, gentlemen, what is going to happen next? What happens if such a situation does come up, that the dam is built and Pakistan destroys it with missiles? What is India going to do? Fight Pakistan? Yes, fight. But then you do not have the decisive advantage to defeat Pakistan. That is the point I'm coming to. Even Modi did not build up the army, the air force and the navy to that extent. Now everybody, including Modi, should ask himself a question, that why was he closing up to Donald Trump so much in America, knowing the American history, that they always betray their people and they only like those who are their sycophants. And Donald Trump is one man who definitely is a great egoist. I think if Modi wanted an alliance with America, which he was trying all the time, Because in his 11 years in power, he has made 11 visits to America. What the hell was he doing there? And after 11 visits and talks of howdy Modi and whatnot, the net result is a big zero. Donald Trump is insulting India day in and day out. The comments by General Munir are at the behest of Donald Trump. And he's applied 50% sanctions, tariffs on India. What the hell is going on? In fact, when Modi came to power and Donald Trump came to power, the lesson was very clear when the Indian illegal migrants were all put in chains, mind you, chains, in the aircraft, and the aircraft was sent to Amritsar. It was a sad spectacle to see the Indians coming out of the plane with fetters on their feet and handcuffed. That was the time for Modi to react. He should have condemned the American attitude and shown that India is a strong man. He didn't do that. In fact, he kept silent. I mean, I couldn't understand it. It was a matter of self-respect of the Indians, and he should have acted. Other countries did it. He didn't do it. One plane came, second plane also came, and then, of course, the American courts put a stop to it. But Modi didn't open his mouth. I mean, is that something which happens? And all the time he was talking against Pakistan and building Pakistan up as a bogey. I mean, you say that these comments have been made by General Munir, which are reprehensible. I condemn them. But there are so many Indians who have been making so much comments about Pakistan that we will destroy Pakistan, we will do this, we will do that. And this is अंग्रेजी में पंजाबी में कहते हैं वाहियात बातें which is meaningless talk. Indian army doesn't have the capability to knock out Pakistan. Till you have that capability, the best thing is to try and be friends. Now you are giving threats that you are going to stop the water flowing to Punjab from India. What is going to happen? There will be barrenness in Pakistan. People start dying. How can you revise the treaty? You can't, provided you negotiate with them. And both sides have to agree, because it is Nehru who signed the treaty. It's not that Pakistan signed on their own. So, gentlemen, it's a very complicated world actually, if you look at it. And half the problems, I think, are created by the Indians. Now, Narendra Modi, I tell you, is got a feeling like Nehru. As I just told you, Nehru thought he's the great third world reading, and similarly, Modi began to think he's the Vishwa Guru. I mean, how he assumed that? Basically, it is the sycophant press, which was building him up. Sir, you are the Vishwa Guru, you are the Vishwa Mitra. Now, if you are the Vishwa Guru or the Vishwa Mitra, then how come that out of 193 countries, not even one condemned Pakistan as a terrorist state when they attacked or carried out the massacre in Pahalgam? Now, this again is a matter of perception. If you want to tell the world that Pakistan has carried out an attack in Kashmir, then you got to prove it. Statements are not enough. And just after the attack, Modi mounted an assault on the terrorist camps in Pakistan. Now, when you say terrorist camps, there were a lot of civilians also staying in those camps, and tens of them died. A lot of terrorists also died, but their families were also staying there. They also died. So I thought it was not the proper thing to do. What should have been done is a fight in Kashmir, enforce martial law. I mean, you don't have the guts to do that. And you keep on saying, blaming Pakistan. Now that's right, Pakistan is the instigator. We know that. But how are you going to solve the problem? By just saying Pakistan instigator, world should condemn Pakistan? And then came this crucial factor that they thought Donald Trump has come to power, and there was so much happiness in the corridors in Delhi. Now he is going to solve the Bangladesh problem. Bangladesh problem should have been solved by Modi himself. He didn't have the guts, I'm sorry to say, to do it. If there was another man like the Russians or somebody or Vladimir Putin, moment Sheikh Hasina was removed, we have moved the Indian army there. If you remember, in the 71 war, the Indian army occupied the whole of East Pakistan inside 13 days. And in this time, it would have been much less, because The Awami party there was waiting for India to take some action, and no action was taken. It was just rhetoric, some talk, and they were so happy. Donald Trump will do. Why should Donald Trump do anything for India? And now the question which has come out is that Donald Trump had come with a fixed agenda. He had 4 years. He wanted to stop all wars, go down in history as the man, as the greatest American president who stopped wars, and he wanted recognition as the Nobel Prize. So once India mounted an attack on Pakistan, and independent observers are saying that we had the better of Pakistan, but that's not enough. Better of the Pakistan means what? The political aim was to destroy Pakistan that as a terrorist center. Was that achieved? Not achieved. Pakistan not learned a lesson, and diplomatically India became zero. Because just after the attack and the ceasefire, Pakistan held a press conference, the air chief, and claimed 6 aircraft have been shot down, number one. Number two, they claimed victory. India did nothing. And I don't know why our air chiefs and the CDS were asked to be silent. What was the reason behind it? And after 3 months, the air chief makes a statement casually in a meeting that 6 planes were destroyed. Nobody believes it. Who will believe it? I was abroad, I asked some people, they said we don't believe it. अगर ये सच होता तो ये immediately बोलते हैं, अभी 3 महीने बाद बोलने का क्या point है? So that is the type of the Hindu character, basically, not to catch the bull by the horns. They don't want to do that. Now coming down to Donald Trump, and why he has instigated Munir. Well, Donald Trump, I think, started on the right foot. He had made a statement that Narendra Modi is my friend. He is coming to America and will meet me. This was the time just before the election when Modi was making a visit to Washington. He carried some president gifts for Mrs. Biden, but Modi did not meet Trump. He not only didn't meet him, he refused to telephone him also. And Trump was kept waiting with the tray of tea and whatever he got to serve him. So you can well imagine how hurt Donald Trump felt. And that is the time he realized कि मोदी खुद कर रहा नहीं है, selfish man. और मोदी की एक problem थी at that time. He thought that Donald Trump is going to lose, Kamala Harris will win, so Donald Trump को रहने दो. That showed that he was a very poor statesman. I feel very sorry when I have to say these words. Then again, he became very petulant after the last war, the short war. Firstly, as I told you, political aim was not achieved. Why he stopped the war? तो फिर शुरू क्यों की? आपने जब अचीवमेंट ही नहीं किया, आपने पॉलिटिकल एम अचीव नहीं किया, तो आपने लड़ाई रोक क्यों दी? Why did you stop the war? And then, when you stopped the war, and Donald Trump, even before the ceasefire, had announced in a tweet that the India-Pakistan war is stopped, there is ceasefire, and I have arranged it. अरे भाई कोई आदमी बोल रहा बोलने दो. What does it matter? And the fact remains, I think Donald Trump vicariously had a hand in this ceasefire. He told the Pakistan leadership that please have a ceasefire, otherwise I will not be giving you the billions of dollars which you are going to get. And it is not that Donald Trump directly was talking to General Munir or something. The American president doesn't talk. It's the other people who were talking. Marco Rubio and Vance, the vice president, they were talking. And they were also talking to India. This was something which the Indians later on agreed when Jaishankar made his speech in the parliament. So give the devil his due, bolne do. Why you want to antagonize the whole issue? And Modi thought he's a great Bishop Guru and he will oppose Donald Trump. And he repeatedly on his statement कि किसी ने ceasefire नहीं कराया. अरे why are you talking all this? You are antagonizing Donald Trump. एक party of the battle is saying उन्होंने ceasefire कराया and they have recommended Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. और दूसरी party is throwing mud on Donald Trump. What do you expect him to do? What action he will take? The another thing which we must remember is that Modi could not convince the world, for whatever reason I do not know, despite sending a massive parliamentary delegation to the world to explain the Indian viewpoint. Net result of that was still zero because एक भी country ने नहीं कहा कि पाकिस्तान जो है is a terrorist state. और इस लड़ाई के बाद में इंडिया हैज बीन हाइफेनेटेड विद पाकिस्तान. जैसे एक कार्ड चलती है, बुलक कार्ड चलती है, उसके दो बैल आगे आगे लगते चलते हैं, तो इंडिया एंड पाकिस्तान हैव बिकम टुगेदर लाइक दिस. द वर्ल्ड हैज इक्वेटेड इंडिया एंड पाकिस्तान. Militarily, India is not a match even to Pakistan, I can tell you. We have only got 29 squadrons, and who is responsible for it? When Modi took over, there were 33. And in 11 years, 4 more squadrons have been reduced thanks to Mr. Modi. You see, he has been spending money on things like largely ban, giving 1500 rupees to everybody, free rations, without creating job opportunities. That is what you should have done. Not given money, but given job opportunities. You should have created that, concentrated on that, and built up the Indian defense machinery, which they didn't do it. Why should India be a laggard as far as China is concerned? China has already got the J-35 flying, and the Indian sixth generation fighter is on the drawing board. It will take 10, 12 years to become operational. Who is responsible for it? And if Modi was thinking India is a great power, I think it's better that his supporters understand that in world history, no country became a world power by importing weapons. In that case, you must know which side the bread is buttered. If you wanted to be a friend with America, then you should not have insulted Donald Trump. Another big insult which he gave was, people were talking that Trump has called General Munir for lunch. I think that's a very shrewd move which Trump did. He realized who is the center of power in Pakistan and called Munir. But he also called the Indian Prime Minister, and the Indian Prime Minister refused. ये मैंने एक और point पे discuss किया है, and that also probably went against Narendra Modi. And Narendra Modi has been putting a lot of tariffs. I don't think he understands economics. Once the Americans are saying, and the world has agreed with America, why can't India agree to reduce the tariffs? And now India is the odd man out. इंडिया ने सबसे पहले नेगोशिएशन शुरू किया अमेरिका के साथ for the tariffs. 6 months have elapsed. 90% of the countries of the world have signed an agreement with America, right from Vietnam, Japan, EU, England, everybody. And they have gone by the American terms. India has not, because Modi is talking of different things altogether. See, I am not an economist. I am a realistic man and a historian. And as a historian, I'll tell you, you must know how to proceed in the world. If you want to be the friends of America for the simple reason that you can't match China, so you think, well, I'll be the Americans on my side, I will match China. This is a theory based on quicksand. You see, India should never have spoiled its relation with China by not starting the air flights, banning their apps. TikTok has been banned, I think, 4 or 5 years back. TikTok is still not banned in China, in America. They haven't banned it. They are trying to ban it. So it's the way things work. One must know how to deal with things. Now suddenly, after you get a blow from the Americans, from Donald Trump, there is a scurry all around, and Jaishankar had been to China. Now the Indian Prime Minister is going. He didn't go to China for 6 years. And suddenly, do you think Chinese are fools? They would understand that this man is unreliable. Now that he's got a kick from the Americans, he's coming and trying to mollycoddle us. And one must know that you can't fight with the crocodile in the water. Now everything here, the services here like Google, PhonePe, everything here which is in India, Amazon, Flipkart, they are all American entities. And if tomorrow America puts in sanctions on India like they did on Russia, Russia survived because of its internal strength and the strength of Putin. India will just collapse like a pack of cards. So one should know, even now Modi is committing a great mistake by trying to build up a front against America. It's not going to work out. And Donald Trump, of course, is wrong, no doubt about it. And maybe he will suffer because, after all, it is whatever has to happen is to be ordained, or whatever is done by the Almighty. And probably Donald Trump may suffer, but that's a different issue. But at the moment, he's hell bent on death against India, and the comments of General Munir are at the behest of Donald Trump. I don't think Trump should be proud of it, but then he's a great egoist. He says he brought around the Azerbaijan war to an end, which is true and nobody's contested it. He says he stopped the India-Pakistan war, and one of the protagonists in this battle, that is Pakistan, says yes, Trump is it, and we are recommending him for the Nobel Prize. While the Indians petulantly, Modi saying no, no. And now he's going in for the peace talks. You can just imagine that Russia and America are enemies, yet Trump and Putin are meeting. So similarly, I would say that Pakistan is our enemy, but you must assess the enemy. And when Donald Trump had called Modi for lunch, and all three would have sat down, why not? After all, you want a solution to the Kashmir problem, and solution cannot come just by rhetoric and shouting that Muslims are not patriotic or something like that. That's not the way. You have to do something better, and that was the best method to do it. Well, gentlemen, I think it's been a little longish video because I just had my thoughts between India and American relationship, and I do not know when the relationship will come back on the even keel. Doesn't look likely for quite some time. And if India is thinking that they're going to mollycoddle up to China, not at all. They should not forget, during the last war, it was China which was on the side of Pakistan. China was supplying all the real intelligence to Pakistan. And one of the F-16 which was shot down, I think, with the Chinese help. The Rifle which was shot down was with the Chinese help. So if you are going to do that sort of things, in the sense you're allowing Pakistan to do this, China to do all this, and then you want to be friends with China? You think Chinese are fools? They've got a history of 4,000 years, much more than India. And they have dominated the world, where India never dominated the world. India got dominated by others. That is the difference. Even now, I think there is a best course of action. We need a leader, I will not name it, but certainly not Mr. Modi. We need a leader who is dynamic, someone like Bismarck, I've been repeatedly stating. I'm a nationalist. Someone like Frederick the Great, Churchill. We need someone like that who gathers the Indian nation together. And perhaps at some stage Indians may also think whether you really need this parliamentary form of democracy. Because who knows, this parliamentary form of democracy will well sow the seeds of dissension in years to come, 20 years, 30 years down the line. And that is one of the reasons India's economy is just about 4 trillion to China's 20 trillion. Both countries start on the path together. India has a head start over China. So China you cannot trust, not the Communist Party, and neither you can trust the Americans. You can trust them only if you do what they say you do. And you can't be independent and say, well, we believe in strategic independence. There's nothing like that in this world. As I've been repeatedly stating, you can't sit on the fence like Humpty Dumpty. Then you have a great fall. And that's precisely what has happened. And now Narendra Modi is facing a great threat to his leadership. I hope he survives. I don't know. I can't say. Anyway, gentlemen, I hope you like my video. Please share it with your friends. Subscribe to my channel and come again. I look forward to further interaction with you. And I will say goodbye, God bless, and Jai Hind.